Hello, Rick here with the second of two cultural indexes that were both voted for with equal results. This week we're looking into a race that forever stands apart from those others in the Mass Effect universe by the very nature of their biology, the diminutive but influential Volus. Native to the planet Irune in the Aru system of the Aethan cluster, they are technically a humanoid species with 4 limbs, head and facial features, but all this is obscured by their environmental suits. The capital city is Lenos, and many of its settlements are based on historic trade routes with few founded for militaristic purpose. The planet itself has a radius of 11,525 kilometres, a 36.2 hour day, and an atmosphere of greenhouse gases that supports ammonia-breathing life forms. As such, the standard oxygen-nitrogen mix most species enjoy is lethal to the very alien biology of a Volus. What's more, the planet is 1.5 G and has an atmospheric pressure of 60.2 that of the Earth's at sea level. This means that the Volus have evolved to be squat and stocky to withstand this gravity, and their physiology is uniquely suited to withstanding this pressure. The human body is quite adaptable and may be able to survive this pressure for a while with gradual acclimatization and breathing apparatus, but a sudden transition from an Earth-like environment to Irune's surface would result in a human expelling all their air and bits as their body collapsed, and they'd pass out and die before they managed to take another step. The inverse is true for a Volus. If rapidly exposed to a human atmosphere, they'd effectively explode, likely not even having time to develop any form of gas narcosis. This has led to the entire species wearing distinctive pressure suits when off their homeworld, the look of such a suit becoming synonymous with a Volus's appearance, and many have not even seen a Volus without his or her suit. This has led to no small amount of fun to be had on the Volus's part, with much speculation on how they look beneath their masks, much like the Quarian race. One recurring topic is that a Volus often deliberately avoids answering questions on one's gender, considering the topic irrelevant at most times. Some even go out of their way to deliberately spread misinformation about this topic and an individual's identity to confuse the subject further, although they do seem to identify with at least 2 genders. They breathe a high ammonia air, and their blood may be blue according to several documented injuries and the colour of their saliva. Yokta is an illness common on their world that almost all will contract at some point during childhood. It is effectively a Volus chickenpox and rarely fatal. Their unique and extreme environmental requirements see them create pressurised zones for other species on their homeworld for races to conduct business, as can be seen by the hazard warnings to remain within such areas when visiting the species. Likewise, Volus who are expected a long stay away from habitable planets can petition local authorities to have a sealed living chamber made, though due to the danger of explosive decompression and atmospheric leakage, these habitats are uncommon. On the plus side, their unique and extreme requirements mean that they have little competition for potential colony worlds, and they have many that they have laid claim to. Although lots of these colonies are listed as having temperatures from -57 to 9 degrees C and pressures of 1.6 atmospheres to around 6, so either the Volus continue to wear their suits even on these worlds, are far more adaptable than they put on, or the codex entries are inaccurate. The species is a Citadel race, but not on the Council. For more on the makeup of the Mass Effect government, I've done some in-depth videos, but the Volus have a long entwined history with the Turians and are responsible for the creation of the Galactic credit through the Unified Banking Act. In fact, proportionally, the Volus own a larger sway of businesses and wealth than the other Citadel species, being a race that long ago took up trade as their primary means of settling disputes. A clan-like culture, the Volus society evolved from a myriad of smaller clans that traded goods and dealt with one another through business. Warfare on Irune is unheard of, and this can be attributed to the lack of any idealism placed on open war. Instead, any disputes that do escalate into conflict are short-lived and settled over the negotiation table. This makes the race natural mediators, if seeming rather cowardly to others but unsurpassed in financial, information, commerce and such matters concerning trade. It is for this reason that they allied themselves to the Turians and supplemented their poor grasp of economics. In return, the Turians provide their military protection and treat the Volus as a client race. The Volus Protectorate, the government of Irune, therefore has strong ties to the Turian hierarchy, and decisions for the species often consider the Turians' input. The race maintains an embassy on the Citadel, where they lobby for more galactic weight, as currently they share an embassy with the Elcor. This is somewhat of a sore spot for the Volus, especially with the rapid rise of humanity overtaking the Volus. In terms of military, the Volus prefer a more passive option and rely on the Turians for the majority of their security. However, they do support their own forces that operate in cohort with the Turians, and such Volus soldiers have powered armour and exceptionally tough envirosuits, with those who have a strong biotic potential often doing well in the front lines, as biotic powers are not dependent on an individual's physicality and stature. They prefer to use their frigates for air superiority when they can, however, but only have one dreadnought, the Quanu, which was a gift from Elcos Combine, the Volus' most renowned arms manufacturer. Most of their technology follows the same Prothean designs as the rest of the galaxy, but they have a reputation for creating affordable alternatives for many designs. Their native tongue is Hyperion Volus, and their naming conventions actually lack a family name, despite all Volus possessing a first and last name. This is because in Volus culture no one person can own another, and the assigning of a family name was considered an act of ownership. This despite that in their past, clan members were also traded among other tribes. Their clan mentality is strong as a species, and refer to themselves as the Vol clan, naming others in a similar fashion. Humans are considered Earth clan, even if they never set foot on the homeworld, while Quarians are the Migrant clan, or by the stigmatic term, clanless. I suspect that species that also primarily have a clan society would be addressed by their clan name, such as the Krogan, and not their homeworld like humans. The shorter name, however, seems to indicate the clan to which a Volus affiliates, and it's possible as certain clans are known for differing specialities. The most prestigious university on Irune is the 10 Clan Academy, for example, and the clan names seem to be derived from locations. They do seem to have religions on their homeworld, probably multiple, as one polytheistic religion names multiple gods and specifies them as northern beliefs. These deities' names are often used to name stellar objects such as planets the Volus have an interest in, much like a certain other race has a tendency to do. They also have a reverence for certain historical documents such as the Book of Planets, a manuscript that documents charity and expunging of debt in times of national crisis. Only 2 people have ever been exiled from the Vol Protectorate before, showing the adept nature of compromise and negotiation the species has. Interestingly, 2 of these writs were for the same radical who preached the abandonment of ownership as a concept altogether, and continued to marshal followers. The Volus are a species that has prospered immensely from their interaction from other galactic races, as many others have, but due to their lack of military might and heavy reliance on trade, they make tempting targets for pirates. As such, the tight bond they share with the Turians is their lifeline for protection, but through their ingenuity for business, they have made themselves integral to the galactic landscape, with most businesses having employed a Volus company or individual at some point. It's a sore point for many Volus that they still don't have a place on the council despite their contributions to the galactic community. All of this, however, is threatened with the arrival of the Reapers, a power that does not care for negotiation or commerce, and even the diminutive Volus were forced to take to the front lines to protect their lives, though many served best as analysts and engineers, or biotic-powered cannonballs. Thanks for watching this index video on the Vol clan of Irune, and with this end is the return of the viewer vote on which species to delve into next. I was thinking we could either keep this Mass Effect trend going with the jellyfish-like Hanar, or, from the Star Trek universe, the Changeling Founders. Cast your vote in the Community tab or drop a comment for another species you'd like to see on the index, and until then, thanks again. I've been Rick, and goodbye.